All right, so after about 115,000 miles, we're gonna stiffen up that 2018 JL steering box. So I couldn't get it replaced with the steel steering box, so we still have the aluminum housing in it. So until we go with a PSC or something, we are going to install the Steer Smart's sector shaft brace and track bar mount stiffener. So it should be a fairly quick install. Most people can do with minimal tools. So this should be a quick one. Let's dive in. So I've already dropped the track bar, and I'll show you a little trick on getting that line back up when we're done here. Didn't think you guys needed an unboxing video. So this will mount here. Now a couple things I've done is I've already put a ratchet strap on it to pull the spring back. That way I can get to all 4 bolts. Now apparently if you have a steel box, these 2 bolts will be different, and there's some kind of pin in this hole. Don't have it, so don't know. Now that the track bar is dropped, I need to get the sector shaft nut broke free. Just in case the pitman arm goes to fall, I'm just going to mark this with where it lines back up, just so we don't have to try to guess. Now if you have a good impact, this wouldn't be a bad place for it. We don't, so we're breaking out the 3/4 drive, and we'll see if we can't get this thing broke free. Huh, broke free a lot easier than I thought it would. Okay, here we go. Now she's coming off. Alright, so to give you a new nut that's going to ride on a bearing, we're going to put a little red Loctite on it. Put that back on. We're going to clean that up just a little bit so the Loctite works. Alright, so per the instruction, we're going to put a couple little dabs of red Loctite on the pitman arm bolt. But that's the only place we're going to be using red Loctite. And you don't got to go crazy. Just one of those, a little bit will do you. There's a washer that goes on here, and then we'll tighten her up to 177 foot-pounds. Now Steer Smarts does have some pretty good instructions. Now we'll torque this dude down and get on to the rest of the install. Let's get 177 foot-pounds. That's a fair amount of torque. That we're tight. Alright, so we'll get these 18s out of the way. And the reason why you want to do the nut first, and it would probably be a better idea to drop the track bar and take the nut off before you take the tire off. That way you have weight and leverage all working for you. I took it off for filming purposes. Now your steering box is being held up by pitman arm, all that connection, and your steering connection for the front. So don't go crazy, but it's got a little bit of support. Might have to push up just a little bit to get the bolts out. I'm going to let the track bar bolt, just hold it in place. Now they say that if you got the Gladiator, you have to notch the spring bucket a little bit. Don't have it, so don't have to worry about it. But so we're going to put just a little bit of blue Loctite on. Don't forget the lock washer, like I almost just did there. Okay, I'm just going to run them down real quick. Alright, and new ones are 19s. I don't like just to start running in with air tools or anything, because I want to make sure the threads aren't cross-threading or anything. Alright, so now we got to put the bearing on. It said straight side forward, and we got to put just a little bit of anti-seize on the nut, which, well, if you watch the channel, you know I got plenty of that. I used the bronze. That way, eventually, if you got to take this off, if you got to take apart your system, this will come off the bottom. Now, when you put the red Loctite on the nut, make sure you set it in the upper half, because if you just put it on the bottom, there'll be none on the threads. And just make sure that bracket's loose when you put this piece on. So break out your 13mm and your blue Loctite that's spilling everywhere. And this is going to get hand tightened. I'm going to run that one down most of the way and then get the other one started and then snug them. Okay, so with that bearing on, There's 44. I'm gonna guess where 170 is. So we know it's roughly there. Shorties are 44 plus 135. Alright, so I'll try to find that snap ring, which I think it's either on the jack or in the jack. We'll put the track bar back together. Now, from all of its wiggling around, it's entirely in the wrong spot. So the bolt won't go in. So I'll show you a little trick for this. Let's get everything else all put back together. Just reach in and turn the wheel that way. Hold on, other way. More, okay, hold it. All right, just a little bit the other way. A little more, hold it. Okay. On the bottom of this nut, there's a little groove, and this takes this little snap ring, walk it around. The best I can show it is, right there. But this bearing holds it. And once again, we still have the aluminum steering box. That's why I'm doing this. And it stiffens up your track bar mount as well. So it's a Steer Smart sector shaft and track bar brace. Now, unlike some kits, you will have some extra bolts. Depending on if you have the steel or the aluminum steering box. I have the aluminum, so you have 2 shorties. If you got steel, you have 2 longer bolts. Nice brace setup until I go with the PSE or something. It's hot out. So remember, put everything in, put that bearing on that nut before you start snugging everything down. I learned the hard way. Please remember, share the video, and I'll see you here for places to abuse that thing.